My ninth audition and final one for this week of January 2020 auditions in New York City was for Guildhall. So they had 3 instructors attending on the panel: Patsy Rodenberg, Martin Connor, and Claire Brown. I have not looked up the spelling of those names, but I'm sure you can find them on the Guildhall website. They also had 2 alumnae, Julia and Catherine. Julia was American and Catherine is half Irish and half American, so she had dual citizenship, which was really neat, gave her a lot of neat advantages and opportunities. So you can find a lot of information on Guildhall auditions if you just Google Guildhall audition experience. I didn't do that. I really didn't do that for any of these schools. I started to, but then I stopped myself because I wanted it to be a spontaneous experience. I didn't want to psych myself out. And I found that a lot of people that were posting or, making videos about their audition experiences were negative, disillusioned, were the people that hadn't gotten in and were therefore grumpy, which I'll get to in a minute. So they began with a group warm-up. Very typical thing. Fill the space. Run around the room, walk around the room, keep your eyes on each other, fill the gaps. Make eye contact. Find a partner. Walk with them for a while. Stop and smile at them and breathe them in. And stretch with them in various weird ways. Then we had to play tag, but whoever was it had to sing something the entire time they were it. They didn't ask any of us in our group of 11, as far as I'm aware, to sing at any of our individual auditions. Then with the 11 students, they had us divide into 2 groups, one of 5, one of 6, and gave us shapes that we had to make. An elephant, a giraffe, a snowplow, which the teacher saw the confused look on my face and asked if I knew what a snowplow was, and I said, well, I've never actually seen one. I'm from Texas. It does not snow. So he was kind to explain that to me because I didn't want to ask. Then he had us get all into one group, and we all had to make a castle with like a drawbridge and a moat and turrets and things like that. So that was fun. Now they have you wear a little pinned on card about the size of a small flashcard or something. It's square. You have to pin it to your shirt while you're doing this warm-up. And that will also be the order in which you will be seen for your private audition. And they will always tell you, you're not being judged on this warm-up. But if you will read people's blogs of the audition experience, no one really feels that's true. Otherwise, why are you identifying us during the group warm-up? I mean, maybe there's no way to be judged well on it, but there's certainly a way to be judged badly on it. If you're being rude, if you're being a jerk, if you are incapable of making eye contact, if you are withholding when you're told to stretch to someone or something. So take it with a grain of salt. Yes, enjoy it, and yes, it's just for you, but no, it's for them too. Sorry, it is. So do your best. And yeah, the audition starts for anything, honestly, as soon as you walk into the building. When you walk in, looking kind, looking confident, smiling. If you open the door for someone, when you walk up and you say hello and you shake hands and you make eye contact and smile, it's all part of the audition. And anyone that tells you otherwise is not lying, but deceiving themselves. So then they had us, one at a time, just whenever we felt like it. We weren't assigned go in order, but one at a time. Step up, say our name, where we are from, what we used to be afraid of, what we now like, and what theater means to us. Some people said a very short explanation of what theater means to them. Some people said a longer one. I don't know if there's really any bearing on whether if you say something flowery and philosophical, if that's going to help or not. Most of us took the what you're afraid of and what you now like literally and thought that it had to be paired up, be the same thing, be something similar. Like you used to be afraid of drowning and now you like the beach. But then a few people decided to strike out on their own and be more interesting and say, I used to be afraid of spiders and now I really like pillow fights. or something. So, go for that. Be the interesting, quirky person. Do it. They did have us remove our shoes and socks for the warm-up. So if you find that weird, I don't know, deal with it. Be emotionally prepared for it. Take off your shoes and socks. Then they had us all leave the room and called us in one at a time for our 10 to 15 minute, I think it was really just 10 minutes. It went by pretty quickly, for our 10-minute private audition. You would write down on a little piece of paper your name, your number, the name, character name, play title, and author of your 3 monologues, and write down the name of a third song. Of a song, a fourth option, which would be a song that you might be asked to sing. As far as I'm aware, no one was asked to sing that. You were allowed to choose which monologue you wanted to do first, and you were informed that you would be permitted to get all the way through it without being interrupted. The implication being, as was the case, that you will definitely be interrupted for whatever they ask you to do next. So I started with my Shakespeare, Cressida. This is also another school that asks for eye contact. My first and last auditions were the only 2 that did that. East 15 also asked me to please make eye contact and address him as my scene partner. So did Guildhall. So I chose the older of the 2 females because she seemed the toughest, Patsy Rodenberg, and I addressed my Cressida to her all the way through. And then once we were done, they asked me some questions. Who am I talking to? What do I want from them? What's stopping me? Something like that. And had me do it again, but with, I don't even know how to say it. To say utter simplicity is not enough. To say without acting is not enough. What the Guildhall panel literally wants from you is to just stand there, motionless. Don't do any hand gestures. They'll say, stop it. They didn't do that to me, but they said that to someone else. Don't make too many facial expressions. Just sort of quietly, just in a very kind of monotone voice, just state the lines like you're reading a grocery list or something. That is what they want. Maybe don't start with that because then I don't know what they'll have to tell you, but that's what they want. Then they had me do Alma Weinmiller from Summer and Smoke to one of the students who was sitting there. They had me sit down and say it to her. And they would stop me several times. They would ask me a question, have me keep going. What was I going to add to that? They were kind. There was no rudeness. Nobody was cutting you down or being mean. They just asked for absolute nothingness. I don't know. So then, we went to the tell us what you've been doing, what you've been up to. So I went into my little spiel. And then Patsy Rodenberg, again, the older of the 2 ladies, who I very, very strongly suspect is the boss of that situation. She asked me, what do you lack? And I made a face, like I was about to say, oh my gosh, I literally lack everything because I have never trained as an actor. And then she, said, no. What do you lack? And this is the one that I answered wrong. I said that I wanted technique, that I wanted to learn a wide variety of acting techniques to be able to pull from and choose what works best for me. And she was like, well, dear, and I think she said in England, and that's not true because it doesn't apply to every school, but at Guildhall, we don't teach techniques. That's an American thing. Our approach is very different. In other words, their approach is this non-acting, like literally just say the things. Do not try to bring in any mannerisms or any tone of voice that is anything different from the way that you would say, hey mom, what's for dinner? That's what they want. So that's when I knew, screwed up, answered that one wrong, incorrect. Tried to backpedal and save it by saying, well, whatever it is that Guildhall offers, I know that is what I want because so many of the actors that I admire have attended Guildhall. So whatever it is that you teach, I don't know. That's why I want to go. I didn't say that. It was very friendly. I, you know, held my own. I was polite and respectful and clear, etc. But yeah, that's definitely when I realized, oops, answered that wrong. So they ask you what you lack. You probably want to say something that sounds kind of simplistic and maybe a bit naive. I don't know. Don't go for naive, but if you can achieve naive naturally, that's probably good. You probably want to say something like, I want to learn how to stop acting and learn how to just be myself on stage at all times. I think that's what they want. Don't lie, granted. I'm not telling you to lie, but that's what they're going for. So then finally got through all 13 people. Our session started, our warm-up started at 10:30. Started a few minutes late. They told us to get there at 10:15 to sign in. First guy to audition probably went in at like 11:10 a.m. There were 3 guys and 8 females, as always. And by the time we finished with all of them, it was like 1:45, maybe almost 2, if that gives you an idea of how long it took. So they called us all back into the room, gave us the speech, which I know, having directed, it is completely true. They wish they could accept us all, but they can't. And they're only going to ask 3 people to stay for the afternoon callbacks. And they read those 3 names, of which mine was not among them, as I knew it would not be ever since I answered that question wrong. And the rest of us, left. So smiled, said thank you. I think I and one other guy politely read a little round of golf clap applause and filed out. And the only thing that I really regret, is that I put on my coat quite quickly, as several of us did, just put it on quite quickly, grabbed our bags, and walked right out of there. I didn't stop and say congratulations to the people, but I don't know which people it was. I didn't really get a chance to learn their names properly, but whichever the 3 were. I think it was one guy from New Zealand and 2 girls. So, yeah, and I wish I'd thanked the students as well. But the truth is, when you receive news like that, very often you want to be alone. So I left. If I could, I would go back tomorrow morning and apologize for that and say, hey, I wanted to thank you for having chatted to me so much about your experience at the school. I hope that you understand that I just wanted to be alone to process the rejection of not having been asked to stay. But I have to hop on a plane tomorrow, so I have to trust that they don't think I'm a jerk. We certainly had lots of nice conversations. So this Guildhall process where they tell you right then and there whether or not you've been accepted, that's very different. That's very unusual. No other school, well, not accepted, but whether you have been called back for the second round that same day. No other school does that. So you may love it, you may hate it. I'm ambivalent. I'm of 2 minds. In one way, I'm a people person, and I was just going to be alone sitting in a hotel probably most of the day anyway. So I enjoyed getting to chat with all kinds of people from all over the world. We had someone that had flown up from Mexico, someone from Australia, someone from New Zealand, people from all over the US, someone from Canada. So that was nice. But then at the same time, I'm just not sure if I like the, for lack of a better term, public humiliation aspect of being lined up and told. It's nice that you know and you can take it off your calendar. Okay, don't have to worry about them, don't have to be on pins and needles. But at the same time, it sort of affects your vibe. Now, this was the final audition for me this week, so it's fine. But, you like to finish your audition on a strong note. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Yes, lovely. Shake hands, grab your bag, and walk out of there, head held high. And if you're going to receive a rejection, you want to receive it in the privacy of your own home or hotel or train ride or whatever, so that you can deal with it in your own way. So, I don't know. It wasn't a miserable experience for me, as it apparently has been for some people who have blogged about it. But it wasn't my favorite either. The Guildhall website makes it rather difficult to learn about them, I feel. They don't have a whole lot of information in their prospectus on exactly what you're studying in their course modules. Nowhere on their website does it say, we don't teach any methods. So I don't really know how I could have learned that. But if I ever actually upload these videos to YouTube, you'll know it, and you'll know not to say the same thing I did. So yes, that's it for Guildhall.